Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 23rd, and some days are easier than others, and yesterday was clearly one of the easy ones. We had been in the sell configuration. We were watching for it as soon as we dipped with magenta underneath yellow here on the rising day, and then it started to escalate, and then now we're in full DOC spread with cyan over red. Red now is dipped below the zero line here. This will remain weak until steel moves back above the negative 13, because once we dip below that negative 13, it's effectively coming from the top side of it, and it's equivalent to the orange being up here coming from below. Once it gets back above negative 13, then you should start to see some support or just some residual strength coming through. But, we've been talking about this since it started, okay? That being down here, positive extremes. Once the red began, we knew that we were coming back to this as soon as sell signal started. We also know that when markets begin to fall, they do it 66% faster than they rise. And so the fact that it only took 2 days versus the week plus for the increase all fits perfectly. So that's where we're at. And you can see the 41, actually, it's a little bit below that, I believe. 41.13 exactly. I don't know where we hit the low here. Might not have quite gotten there. 41.18. I've always been a fan of somewhere around 80%, or even in this case, the open um, of the bar, which was at 41.28, which already would have been eclipsed. But um, more likely than not, we'll still come back and get the full low of it. But it's always good to take gains, especially when they're this easy. I mean, this was about as easy a day as it gets. When we look at the 5K, you'll see it clearly. From an NQ standpoint, identical readings. In fact, a little bit worse here. We now have white MBI leading magenta, which in this particular case, when you're well above the 100%, I at least look for the 50% to be a target on that. Should things maintain themselves with the readings in this case, I would expect more supports to be broken. And, geez, what a shock here. The euro officially closed, finally, below the parity mark. So it's the first time since the 90s that's happened. That's a long time. Yeah, we broke it before, but didn't close below it. This was an actual close below. So that's the beginning of a precipice, and we'll see how well they're able to maintain it. But again, who wants a euro? It's just not a thing right now. This is the intraday that's taking place right now, and I mean, you can see how clean this has been. It's just a dramatic thing to see it unfold. From an oil standpoint, still holding up right around the 90 range. Um, any build here, though, will put added pressure on the euro, I would expect, because you're just going to need more dollars, and it's just going to be the place to go for a return. TLT, we promised you that it would continue to break down. It has, which means yields are rising, which is this subtle recognition that, oh, wow, maybe the Fed is actually going to continue on its course and really not assist the market at this particular stage. A little bit of bounce back from Bitcoin coming off this severity. This is probably the most decent readings we've seen in a while, even from the daily starting to improve dramatically. ETH didn't have that much real dramatic moves. I mean, I think they were clean when we go back to it, but the postmark has been really nice. I mean, we had this giant run up that filled completely back all within a relatively short period of time, and then returning all the way back up. So that's beautiful. Can't complain about that. The difference here between where we turn, I put my marker, this is where we have green DOC over. The holdback on this from changing to green was the deep red in the shakeout coming from such a negative position. Um, I'm running the stats on which one is most effective, capturing above the 23% and taking that, because then, of course, the white does bounce above, but hasn't broken down, just starting to at this particular stage. But we're only at 3 on the white MBI, so that has to spike up before anything's going to start to fade. And from a 50K, you can see the selling from all the way back there. This has been the strongest turnaround here in the post market that we've seen in the last couple of days. And from a 5K, this is where it started. It's like, boom, beginning of the day. You didn't have to do anything. It only got a little interesting in the middle when we had a brief bounce, and that one was easy to secondarily short with the signals, and pretty good volume on this though. And that produced another nice leg down, and we start to get back to some of these previous algo levels from before. We sort of supported off that 4140 there. It broke down in the post market, and then boom, European session has really taken off, and that's what's lifted the market to where it is right now. I would expect more fireworks. This is beautiful action. Can't complain. Anyone sitting idle is probably pulling their hair out, but I think it's been a pretty simple read, and it's always great to be able to see that coming and then know exactly what we can expect from it. As always, though, I will be on the Skype chat. Trade well. Talk to you later.